anybody
Just in case somebody would do something like that.
destroy, like, I don't know, say an entire old folks home.
Hey.
Hi.
You get back to Narashiro. You enter the city without much of a problem. But it is quite clear that there's a different tone in the streets from when you were here last. You were here last at different times. Those marketplace areas by the city gates, it's not empty. People are huddled together having quite hushed conversations. And I have to let my cat out because she's like, oh, I want to come in here and love you, but I don't want to be in here when you're streaming, but I want to be in here right now. Now I started talking, so she wants to go,
And all the cats on the street run away very quickly.
Kitty cat! People are having huddled conversations. The guard are standing pretty firm.
Can we hear any of those conversations, just quickly?
No. Unless you want to do a perception check to eavesdrop.
Do you want me to eavesdrop for you?
Oh, like that actually would be smarter, wouldn't it? Yeah. That seems good.
You kind of flick through the thoughts of some of the crowd of the noble drow, because you'd be entering the city closest to your home, which is the common drow, which is the noble drow, right? These are all people connected to a house in some way and does an important duty. The Devil in Gold has returned. This entity from the surface, linked to the ancient evil, with a collection of allies, was thought dead, was thought executed by the Warstrider. Has just executed the Warstrider quite publicly at the Garden of Blood, which is the arena in the city. Yuna's probably been there before. A lot of people are kind of talking about what does that mean? You know, can the enemy come back from the dead? Were they ever dead? What happens now that a very important individual is just killed? Can they do that to anyone? Like, there's a bit of a hushed worry. It's kind of bordering on fear. But it's like everyone's kind of working together to not be terrified, if you know what I mean?
Mm.
So it's kind of just like startled, panicked gossip.
Yeah. I'm gonna relay that, Raka and Rothy and Voss. And just say that people are scared.
The more reason for us to unify them.
Right. Back home?
I have a question. Is Draco back yet?
No. You go back to a empty house. The only people here are slaves, so they don't count. Yeah, it'd be a bit weird to go home and Draco's not there. I imagine that is quite strange.
I'm gonna make Voss go on the sing ring to make sure he arrives safely.
He wouldn't be there yet. Voss would just say it's like it's not long enough. Because it's been like 4 days or so for you. This is like a many weeks journey. He's gone for a while. Nero would be like, "Oh, I'm so glad you're back. It's been strange. There's no one around, and I'm glad to see you." And...
I'll give him a hug.
No.
Did Draco go?
Oh, Draco went to Voss's family's.
I'm sure he'll have a grand time with them.
I'm gonna look at Voss and just be like, "It's not a good idea." That safe for him?
As long as he does not offend the matriarch of my family, he might return with some new bruises.
Rakath does not hide it on his face very well that he is not optimistic.
It's gonna be fine.
He did talk of taking Kato with him, which would have been worse. He did not.
Kato refused to go.
Voss just kind of like purses his lips at that.
It's gonna be fine.
Okay.
But I have been thinking about what would happen if Jariko were to meet an untimely end, because I don't know how to run this house. So I think Nero should start training with day-to-day upkeep and things, since he knows the house better than me and better than Voss.
If that is what you would wish, my lady, I have watched Jariko run his house for nearly a century, so it'll be fine, I think.
Yeah, I'll give him a hug again. Like, it'll be good.
If you think I can do it, I'm sure I can.
You can do it.
Rakath does not look ominous.
Right, Raka?
Voss says, either we are giving him free slave status, or we are finding someone else who can do this for a long-term plan. Having a house slave run the house, as common as it may actually be, is uncouth.
We'll figure out the status later. I'm not concerned about that.
So, Jariko's going to meet your family, Voss.
That is correct.
Does that mean what I think it means?
I could not possibly decipher what you are thinking.
Yes, you can. Come on.
I'm smiling, he's not smiling.
Are you two engaged?
Not technically.
That's a yes.
Grab both of you and just
oh, that's very exciting. I assume Yuna proposed then. It's about
She
damn
proposed
time.
in a way that she proposed a sensible idea to me and
She
her brother,
proposed a
who he agreed with the concept and has gone to meet my family to check that
And
everything.
clearly you did as well, otherwise you wouldn't have let him go.
I would not disagree with the choice of my lady.
You're too good at that face.
Well, anyways, I have work to do. Gonna leave.
I will take Nero aside and have a conversation with him.
Yes?
Just kind of explain things, and it's gonna be fine. I'm always gonna love him.
Yeah, what was that
And
about?
after, it's fine. It's fine. And after the marriage, we can officially declare you a concubine. We'll elevate your status. It's gonna be great. Everything's gonna work out.
Can you give me a persuasion roll, please?
Rocky's just figure out anything.
You should roll your importance first, just in case.
Rakath
Roll
is
this for it first.
like, say,
Oh, by the way,
We're not gonna use
Nero,
those.
good luck.
and we're gonna close the door.
Persuasion, you said?
Yes.
Yep, no, it's gonna be fine. Don't worry.
You can see the moment his heart breaks.
Oh no.
He's like, yeah, I'm sure. I have to learn a lot about the operation and the people to contact and things, so that'll take up all my time anyway. You know how your brother never has any time for anyone.
He'll make time for this.
He will.
We'll make time for this.
Yes, my lady. Whatever you say. And he's like
Okay.
not making eye contact.
Oh no.
Ripperino, my dude. He's,
Oh.
we've got a traitor in our midst.
The best
It's gonna
reason
be
for
okay.
traitoring is love.
It is.
It'll be fine.
Alright.
He goes to and he sits at Jariko's desk. Dun dun. symbolism or something.
Ominous music plays.
Yeah! Oh, that happens when you sit at a desk. It helps with his inspiration. Special enchantment.
Law and Order Narashiro.
That would be great.
Be a very
You
good
could
show.
do a level 2 lawyer game. It'd be great.
Basically,
You
what we were
in the
doing.
chair and you just hear, "Hello, darkness, my old friend."
Well, that went great. Didn't have to waste a spell slot for sense emotions. It's fine.
I think even Roky caught that emotion.
I don't have a witty response.
No, that's very good. By the way, I
Okay.
went to the market.
Oh!
So I think Rofi and I are gonna work on our side project.
Yep.
I
Rakath!
assume Rakath doesn't need us.
Yeah.
I'm
Rakath
literally
in
going-
town! Rakath
I
in
am-
town! What are you doing?
Gonna go get my parrying dagger enchanted. As a
You
plus
need to
one.
give me an investigation check to find an enchanter. You don't know one.
I do know one. She's at the house, but I can't use her because she's busy. It's a 19.
Okay. Of course, and this may relate, you go down to a torturous tavern. Does anyone know what could enchant? I know an enchanter. I can't use her right now. She's busy. Someone else.
Just got engaged!
Little Yuda got engaged.
I'm gonna pull out a mug out of nowhere and just go, ah!
You know, everyone has a mug. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Awesome. You actually do know of an enchanter linked to the trader's tavern. She's not here all the time because she has been disavowed from the church, which very rarely happens because the church pretty much allows every sin under the eyes as long as it's worded correctly. To get disavowed from the church, you have to do something pretty bad. So
Pretty
she,
impressive.
yes, so she is known to be a bit of an enchanter, especially on magic to harm. But you could always no, not an enchanter in
Sorry.
the
Not a
flirtatious
charming-
arts.
Okay,
No,
sorry.
she left the church. What are you
Right,
doing?
sorry.
Her name is Dawn. She lives in the bog slums most of the time, so she doesn't come up here all that often. You are given a pretty good address to where to find her, and you head off on a little day trip. So you order some street meat, you can go down. You find her in actually a building down here. Seemingly some of the earliest buildings sunk when this place became as wet and bog-like as it does. The bog slums being the area of the city below the agricultural district where it's so saturated and moist that it's kind of this rotten, wet cave where escaped slaves live, a lot of people in the black market professions, things like that, as well as just monsters. But she actually has a building. The building is kind of tilted to the side. It's a bit of a tower. Outside is a suit of samurai-esque armor with some parts that don't fit the same suit of armor and cloths that cover some of it. But Rakath, being keen and hanging around the people who hang out with, is pretty sure there's no one in that armor, but it still turns as you enter. You know. A little bit after entering the dark chamber inside, little lights up a stairwell. And upstairs is Dawn. She is a she's an adult drow. She has tattoos that burn red and almost glow on the dark skin, and even you can tell that the tattoos are of a unpleasant type of magic. Even someone like you kind of gets an uncomfortable feeling being here, which, to be fair, Raka could very easily shrug off. But that initial is just like, something is just wrong here. The chamber has a lingering smell of blood, which you know well, and spices. There are some bones, what is quite clearly an altar of stone that she is kind of crouched upon. She's a very dexterous, slender drow, and she looks at you with bright eyes and says, with a voice booming with a little bit of magic, I had received message that you would come here from the torturers.
Good, I'm glad they sent word.
It would be wise. I may have taken your heart, one way or another.
Ooh.
Yeah, you do that, and she actually does kind of give this, like, playful grin with teeth a little too sharp. And she kind of snakes her way off the altar, and the room lights up a little bit more. This is clear she doesn't need intimidation. And she kind of prowls around the room, walking like a creature of magic. I assume you know who I am.
Yes, that's why I'm here.
Who are you?
Well, I am called Rakath at the Torturer's Tavern. You've probably heard of me at least once before, because Ando and, well, Roger don't really shut up. But...
I keep my ears open to all.
Yes, they are my favorite people at the tavern, for the record. That's why I speak of them that way. But I am a torturer by trade, but also a representative of House Jarviskjir in many situations. So in this situation, what I am looking for, and I'm going to quickly twirl out the parrying dagger with more dexterity than a lumpy man should ever have.
Yes, it's like you take the player model of a giant, but you give him like the Han Solo animations.
Yes,
but it works.
But it somehow works.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to hand the blade to her and just say, I am looking to have this enchanted magically.
I understand. A blade, sharp, to pierce and to deflect. Quite simple. I can do this. It has a price.
Of course it does.
Of coin.
Of coin!
I am not asking for your soul or your blood, although I am sure your blood would be quite...
It's very interesting. Would you like some?
If you're offering.
I will make it part of the deal. I'm happy to bleed out a little bit.
I will knock some off the price.
Excellent.
900 gold and...
I was also going to offer some of my pus, if you like, from the...
I have less use of that.
Are you sure?
I consort with creatures that do gain power from the forms of flesh. I am not looking to enter the realm of famine and disease quite yet.
Fair enough. If you ever are, let me know. I have an excess. But also,
I'm sure I will.
One other thing I would like to put on offer, if you're interested, is sharing a drink. And I'm going to take out the Pyromancer's Delight. Not anything to do with the deal, just to enjoy something together.
I am interested in meeting new people.
As
Interesting
am I.
people always find a way to walk into my domain.
Oh,
I
that's
did not
what-
even have to summon you.
No. People rarely find that effective.
She will immediately just like crouch sit, and from just somewhere, a couple of like metal cups clatter and move and just shift and kind of roll and land in front of the two of you. face
I'm
up.
gonna pour some Pyromancer's Delight. I think I've got 2 glasses of it left in this
Yeah.
bottle, but anyways, that's fine. And then I'm going to take a goblet of my own and put it down, and I'm just gonna do a quick bloodletting on my arm. I don't know how much damage. I'll
It
do with that.
just, you know, it will matter if you get into a fight in the next. But don't worry about it.
But I'm gonna.
You know
give
what's
a
you know
basic-
what's better is the health because you know what you're doing. You basically just give yourself like the poison status for like until a rest because you're just woozy. You know, you're not
Yeah.
harmed.
Okay, fair enough. And then I will. Well, I mean, I guess I'm also intending on sitting with her and having a drink for a bit to also
Yes.
have a bit of a short rest after. Like that was the intention of having the.
Okay, I get you.
The-
Yeah, fair. Even it kind of evens out.
So 9 in the blood.
900 gold and a blood.
Okay. For my parrying dagger, obviously.
You know, if someone enters this place looking as you are, I would expect, but they would be looking to cure what ails them. And I've done it before. I have shifted quite firm rules of biology to the side for those who would will it. But you seem quite confident in your skin. You don't want to change.
I've never had any other.
I suppose that is apt.
From what I understand, I am, at the very most, a half-breed. At the very least, one part in a many of a cursed giant called Fomorian. Now, I know nothing about them. I don't really care to know anything about them. I have jobs to do. I have work to do. I, as you know, am part of the black marked trades, as you have come to be as well, from what I understand. Though not directly.
Association.
Yes.
What I do is not black marked, but it is black magic.
Yes. Well, I dabble in some of that myself, at least in research. But more accurately, the lady of my house is quite adept.
I have
I have-
heard rumors of a lady of House de Vescos who can bend a soul to her will.
Indeed, I've seen it. It is quite fascinating. See, the difference in trade is often just based on status. Now, I am aiming to do something in the near future that may affect the black market trades. I have to go speak with somebody about it first to get permission. Unfortunately, that is the society we live in. But
You are a creature of high standing.
that's what they tell me, and then they turn around and call me monster.
That is how our people are. My people,
Indeed.
I suppose.
They are my
I'll tell
adopted-
you. The church encourages you to learn, to read all the books about our queen's wills, her domains, the history of our people. But when you read too much, when you delve too far, they'll cast you out. There's always a
yes.
line with our people, or maybe any people, that they would will us not to cross. I posit why create a line if not to cross it? Why lock something away when it can be, well, when it is a skill to learn?
And a skill is valuable. That is why I am going to seek to unionize the marked trades and those associated.
You are to
develop-
make a guild.
Yes. Standardized rates, regular employment. And
Considering most of our profession are slaves, that would not go down very well amongst those who hold the whip.
And those who hold the whip are losing power by the minute. The best way to keep control for them is to set a standard and to hold the whip from a distance. At least that's how I'll be pitching it to them. Because without that, they will lose all control and very likely end up dead.
You have given this a great deal of thought. A lot of
I did.
keenness in your mind. Maybe you'll be able to do something on this.
Maybe. Or I'll be killed on the steps. We'll see. It's really a 50-50 shot.
I think the Daimao cannot afford to kill too many more in public.
No.
Even a monster.
Especially a monster who's been explicitly working directly with the Daimao. You see, they've given me status whether they wanted to or not.
This city is like Aether. It is volatile. There will be a breaking point.
I am trying
soon.
to stop that. I am trying to contain it. I am trying to give this city purpose. I am trying to give its people a unification to stand behind to stop outside influencers from destroying
Start this with the outcast. That is curious.
If you do not start with the outcasts, you start from a rotten interior.
I will say our people will be quite loyal.
Yes. I'm counting on that. Without that, everything fails.
Loyalty
Without
can
that-
be hard to buy here.
Yes.
It'll be valuable.
Well, for the record, you have stolen my heart at least a little bit today.
My
if you-
heart is not mine to give, she says as she stands up. And kind of with her foot, she kind of hooks the goblet of blood between her toes and lifts it up to her hand. And we'll put
And
it
if
up.
you need more blood, I can supply more. Of my own and of others. Pliable trade and all. But, of course, there is a cost. Of coin!
Maybe if you create a guild of outcasts, I might sign my disavowed name.
I would like that very much. And if you ever wish to grab tea or another drink at the tavern, please do let me know.
I will send word to the tavern when your blade is ready.
I appreciate that, thank you. Preferably send the word to Ando. He is talkative, but he can keep a secret.
You see her actually, taking a finger of your blood and pouring it along the edge of the blade and stuff like that as she starts to weave magic that sparks this hot orange in the dark. And just kind of turns her back to you.
I'm going to turn back one more time before I leave and just say,
And by the way, those armored individuals who are not individuals but rather enchanted beings, I like those a lot. They remind me of an old friend.
I'm just gonna turn away and leave with that.
Alrighty. What do you guys want to do?
I am going back home before I do anything else, but I need to talk to Kato at some point here. But I don't know if anyone else has anything else we want to do first.
They're tinkering.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you
Yeah,
wanna
I'm
do
happy
other than
just
that?
crafting if you want to talk to Kato, yeah.
Okay, I can go do that.
Yeah, I don't think I have any plans.
I just okay, sure. I'll just keep doing it. Yeah, why not?
We'll just keep talking. That's all D&D is
yeah.
anyway.
We can have a conversation for this hour. That's fine.
I'd like to, actually, I wouldn't mind going with you to go see Kato.
I would
That's fun.
appreciate that. Yeah. I would like to have a little bit more weight
Good time.
behind it. I'd like to bring Voss with me too, just to see how uncomfortable that.
Voss is busy.
Okay.
He's doing something.
Doing schoolwork. That asshole.
Yes.
Fine, fair enough. Okay, I'm going to.
So is Rofi with you too?
You want
It's
to
up
come,
to
Murphy?
Rofi.
Or do you want to craft?
Or are you gonna? I mean, are you smithing still? Or are you gonna come? I guess.
Probably smithing. This
Yeah.
probably doesn't sound like the sort of thing that Rofi would be interested in.
That's fair. So you go and set a meeting with Kato. She will say to meet you in the high city, and says that she has already paid your passage.
Okay.
And
I'm wearing the bone cherub mask as we go because this is, and I am hood up. Like I'm a monstrous figure, but I am at least not doing the disservice.
subservient. Yes.
To people. Yeah, I'm not showing it off right now. But that's not a matter of. I just don't want to deal with combat right now. Is the main thing. Pretty much.
Will's like, no combat session, no conversation. I'll make it happen.
Before we go,
Yes.
in case we go to the place of the magical tea, I am gonna give Rakath the potion of etherealness.
Okay. All right. Cool.
It's not a potion, sorry, oil. The oil of etherealness.
Yes, because you have
10
those
minutes
done.
Dab on yourself.
It is of note. The correct me if I'm wrong. When it comes to your little potion experiments, because this is before you go, you tried to do a potion of healing with Demon Heart and
potion
one
healing
with
with Demon
Aether
Heart.
Crystal.
Yeah, so both the healing potions are fucked up in some way.
The one with the Aether Crystal is noticeably different, right?
Ooh.
Because you're using it by herbalism, so these healing potions are green, like a murky green. This has blue in it that doesn't quite stay still. It kind of swirls. The demon one isn't actually noticeably different. But I imagine you still label it as such.
Yeah.
Even heart health potion? Yeah,
Yes.
that seems smart.
And then, of course, we'll give the potion of giant strength to Voss, and I'll remind him of next time we play.
Yeah.
And I'll ask Rofi which potion he wants, which health potion.
Realistically, I should have done checks to see if you even got these potions, but this is your first one, so you got some freebies.
Not
Demon Heart?
fast.
Alright, you get the demon heart.
Okay.
The more sketchy one because it is different, which means it's
I mean, I'm.
not good.
If there's anyone to give it to, it's the Fae. You give the sketchy one to the Fae.
Yeah, shenanigan versus shenanigan means normal? We'll
Yeah.
see
Or
in
extra
like
shenanigans.
5 sessions when you use it.
So it is a potion of greater healing that might also do something else.
And the potions are greater healing because you blessed it, basically, right?
Nope,
No, that's just
because that's what the guardian gives you.
yeah, that's just the garden.
Ah, okay.
If
fair.
I bless them, they heal for max.
Oh.
Automatically.
Yeah. It's fair, it gives greater healing, to be fair.
Mm.
Alrighty. I might nerf the garden a little bit because a lot of those things are a bit OP
Garden's
for
really
Jarviskjir. But I will allow that for now. I will oversee it at some point. This doesn't fit. But
Depends how many shenanigans we get into with the potions. I
here's a
understand.
bounty. Here's a
That's
bounty.
fair enough.
Be stealing tea.
Right.
Yeah. And we talked about some other stuff you can do with it, which you can totally do. We're making our own rules on the fly. That's what D&D is about. You go off to visit the high city, which neither of you have been to before. This involves going... What?
Wasn't Una brought here for tea by Voss?
T is very high. The high city is not
fire
the
high.
spires. The high city is the ceiling of the cavern. When you look up and you can kind of see light.
Yuna, I am, by the way, slightly afraid of heights.
Oh no! Don't be.
Okay.
You go to what kind of looks like it might be a small church, but inside is, a little bit of a, almost like a reception slash ticket booth. It's like, oh, yeah, Univara Deveskos +1, you are expected. You go to a circular room with a stone tablet in the middle, very large, with symbols engraved in the stone. The stone twists as you're standing on it. All the magic lights up. There is one mage this is their job, so they aren't looking incredibly enthused, who just kind of makes the symbols and just translocated to the high city of Narashiro. The stone circle continues to twist with this thrumming noise of magic before going still, and you hear birdsong and distant music. The walls are an ivory white and very clean. The chamber has guards who are the guards of the Daimao. Even the mage who's standing on this side is wearing the Daimao's colors. And as you're kind of ushered out, you go through a hanging hallway with glass walls, so you can see just how high you are over Narashiro down there. You're not so high that it's like, oh, it's so small, you're like on the moon. No, you can quite clearly see where you live, but it is definitely quite imposing. You walk through, a little bewildered, I imagine, into what is basically an indoor garden with both fungal trees and seemingly surface trees. The weird ones with like bark and green leaves. They're always like weird. People say they're meant to be more aesthetically pleasing, but they're not glowing or anything. Like,
We're walking by one. I'm gonna like feel the bark on it.
Yeah.
As we
and there's animals kind of living around in this area, and in a very, this is almost in a wood elven kind of way. Not that any of you know what wood elves are, other than, oh, they're a type of slave that are better with plants. But some of the benches and things are made out of wood. It looks like it's grown out, and there are noble drow beyond any you've really often met and talked to. These are the kind of people that were at that tea house, where their hair probably costs more than your house, kind of drow. It's why you're going through one of these spots that you would see Captain Kato in her polished samurai armor walk up. You don't often see her with her weapon. I have described before that she doesn't carry a sword. Her weapon appears to be a 2-foot long rod that is quite engraved and metal capped at the ends, and she kind of has it under her arm in a very kind of military, she's looking her status when she walks up and gives you a bow.
I'm gonna wave and then I'm gonna bow. She gets closer.
Yeah, you're fair. Honestly, that's reasonable. And said, I am quite busy as of late, so I thought this would be most appropriate, especially considering the business you are likely to talk to me about, assuming that you are here to talk about business and not some other frivolous pursuit that you have managed to get yourselves into.
Yep, business.
Well then, let us talk somewhere somewhat more private. And we'll walk through into, this is by somewhere more private, just, another one of these corridors that's still the garden, but it's kind of like separate, and little water features and things like this. It's a very beautiful, very expansive space. But if this is the only part of the high city that you see, it's like, we don't get anything done here. There's no sign of anyone working or anything like that, aside from you're aware that these conversations are probably quite important, usually. She will motion for you two to sit, but she doesn't. But she does kind of like overlook from this place. From here, you can actually, if you kind of look properly enough, you can see the roof of the cavern and the aether crystals quite properly, you know, in the roof, as well as clouds that are, you're so far up that, like, because it's about to be the rainy season, the clouds are causing condensation in the windows and things like that. It gives a perspective on the city to see it from such a place. I am blessed to see it, but it is common knowledge that all knowledge given to us by the Queen is a blessing. What is it that you wish to talk about?
Come to speak about the Azet Enclave, for one, the Gokhan Enclave, for another, and, in addition, the black-marked trades. The first...
That is an interesting addition.
Yes. It is an addition that I feel prudent given the circumstances, and we can discuss that further, of course, but...
She, while you're talking, will take off her helmet and lean it on like a bark, like a branch of a tree.
And I feel we should talk about Azet first, as that is the most pressing matter.
That is the mission I put you upon.
Yes. Well, we have taken a diplomatic approach with Azet, as the circumstances revolving around their endeavors lead us best to handle things in a very above-board manner, as best as we can, at least for the time being. We are going to have access to and visit the Enclave. That is not the case yet. We are attempting to do business with them. The goal is to have exclusivity in any transport into Narashiro for the Aether Crystal. This would be done to avoid you having to raid for Aether Crystal from it coming in illegally, which it inevitably would. We would be delivering it through a direct channel, directly to you and the Daimau's forces. This would be purposefully purchased by yourselves as the Daimao forces in order to secure the Aether Crystal in the best way possible. This deal would allow us to secure not only relations with Azet, but their loyalty as well. This would also allow us to further gather information, especially because we have now, and I'm going to pull out the signet ring from Gokhan, gained an ally in paradise. After many endeavors, I've worked hard to make sure that after I was turned into a marble, which is a story for another time, that they agreed to be friendly and work with us. This allows us to secure 2 of the Gnomish enclaves as allies. And given the circumstances in the city, I feel we cannot afford to have anyone on the outskirts at this point, especially given the War Strider. Now, speaking of the War Strider, echoes ring throughout the city. The common folk, the slaves. There is unrest. There is fear. The black-marked trades, I believe, are at a point of such unrest that there could be uprising. And we have seen uprising in this city before, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there would inevitably have been uprising at the time of the War Strider's fall.
There was.
I don't know the extent.
The factory district was raided by the proud Ronin and her slave armies.
Shit.
I believe we have talked of her before.
I was hoping she wouldn't make it into the city before we had a chance to infiltrate.
It was a typical tactic of distraction.
Yes.
It didn't have much effect on our actual military might. It was not an attack against the city of Narashiro, but the War Strider quite personally.
Attack. That is an attack to rally the peoples.
Absolutely.
I want to mitigate that. My goal, as a member of the Black Marked Trade with some level of status, though limited, of course, I would like to set up a Black Marked Guild. This would be an opportunity to control them from a distance without raising the whip. This would be an opportunity to control prices, maintain wages, which would allow them to live, not comfortably, but more comfortably than they are now. Just enough to give them that view that we are not willing to lose them, that they matter, that they have value in this city. Just enough that they will not go and defect to a slave army led by a proud Ronin who can't do anything but seed unrest. I'm sorry. I've been heated. I want our city to stay unified. It needs it. Or we all bleed.
I would not doubt that executioners have skill with an axe, that torturers have skill with a blade, that those who dabble in uncouth magics have skills that may be useful to our queendom. I will have to talk.
Of course.
But I will give you my permission to start these discussions. I am not one who can oversee the creation of a guild, but I can talk to those who do. Who
Of course.
do live and work in this city. I think that is a good idea. And despite you are a very intelligent individual, it means the best for this city and the people within it. I will trust your judgment on this. And I would prefer the executioners, the torturers, the gravediggers to not defect to an army of slaves.
I agree. And thank you for your kind words. Also, that was a very loud bird. I didn't know birds made those kinds of noises, but this is a mystery place to me.
What is a bird?
Thank you for showing me this place.
Scrolls of Ascension 23, we deserve beauty. Despite your outward appearance, your soul is very much usurper.
Kinder words have never been spoken. Thank you.
Correct.
On the note of Azet, I know you likely don't have the authority directly, but you do have your say. What is your
You
take?
are to bring, to make a formal... Allow me to think through my words,
Go on.
so that they may be more deliberate. You wish to create an agreement with Azet to bring Aether Crystal through into the city, to the High City, most likely to the Daimau's wizard herself.
Correct.
It is no secret that the Daimao has an interest in the power
Yes.
of Aether. And I wish I could share with you some things that I knew. And
I
perhaps
would
will.
never you, not directly. If you wish to share that information, if you have permission to share that information, it would help me a great deal in understanding. But for now, I do as we are told.
Perhaps in time. I will talk with those in the Palace Arcanum who oversee. You know, our glorious Daimao was not born into leadership. She was born. The Dawn Ebb family collected magical reagents for herbalists, for alchemists, for simple dabblers and larger guilds. She knows of the power of such things, and I could get her personal seal on these deals. No cost too great.
I appreciate that. They would like us to purchase in bulk. There is also an addendum to the agreement. It puts House Jarviskjir at risk. we are not to disclose the information of the Enclave to anyone outside of House Jarviskjir. And likewise, they are not to disclose to anyone outside of the agreement that we are aware of where the Enclave is. I informed them, of course, that you would have to be informed that we would be going there. But the information as to where we would be going must remain a secret. That being said, I'm sure you could strike an agreement with them as well. We intend to bring at least a few here, not to the High City, but to Narashiro, to seal the agreement and to show that we mean true.
That is a difficulty.
Of course.
The Palace Arcanum will have to integrate with House Jarviskjir. You will be needing more women. You will be needing more wizards, mages. You will be needing storage. But
We will so likely need a space for those people. Perhaps there are spare houses somewhere along that we could formulate into a school of sorts for the magically inclined.
that is already far accustomed. You will be overseeing the transport as is suitable to your house.
Of course.
I do not think we need another frivolous and ungilded school in our city.
Guilds are a difficult thing for a school to obtain, are they not? The paperwork is, I believe, several hundreds, maybe almost
Yes, it is
1,000.
quite difficult. Only those truly deserving of a place in our city are blessed to gain it.
Yes. Ungilded schools still have some rights, though, based on the laws of the land, from my understanding. And they have the right to seek that guildship at any point. Is that correct?
You have been reading about what the world could be. I think if your ally, Nor, would be to try and gain some guildship for his house, he would find it quite difficult.
May I ask why?
Because I said so.
I'm gonna roll an insight check quickly.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, like, I know why,
You know why?
but like,
I mean, considering how close she was to Voss before, she definitely seems to dislike Voss quite a lot now. I mean, you could kind of put the dots together that them being engaged and her not liking him anymore.
I am actually going to turn to Yuna in this moment and just say,
Yuna, would you allow me a moment in private with Madrigato?
Of course. Hi.
Thank you.
She gives Yuna a very polite and stately nod.
I'm gonna go get
a burrito?
some tea.
It's just a burrito stand in the high city. No! No ethnic food here.
Fair.
I take it.
You could absolutely get fresh sushi, though.
Ooh, yes.
Like real fish.
I take it that you are not pleased to hear of their engagement. I'm
Such
sorry.
knowledge would be irrelevant to me.
You and I both know that that's not true. And I'm very sorry.
Scrolls
You know,
of
my friend-
Ascension 11, it is no worth to grieve what has not been born.
And yet it was. Hints of it, at least. You would be right to grieve something like that. I am not a counselor. At least not to my knowledge. But I am familiar with the way that people feel. I can see it in your eyes.
She noticeably looks away.
punishing him for something that has been thrust upon him, whether or not he wishes it, which I don't know if he does. I know him well, and I do not know if he wishes it. Punishing him for that is one of the many signs of grief that show on your face right now.
To grieve is to open yourself to weakness.
And
Samurai does not grieve.
move past that weakness, one must grieve. Let yourself and move through. If you do not, that weakness will be there forever.
You can give me a persuasion roll.
Oh, God. Come on.
She nods.
Yeah.
I understand what you are saying. And I thank you, although it is not your place to suggest you could give emotional support to a samurai of the daimao.
Of course. I bow very graciously at that, and then return back, and just before she says anything else, I just quickly say,
I would never assume that you didn't already know everything that I was saying. But, for what it's worth, I appreciate you hearing me out anyways. Sometimes I talk too much. But I appreciate it nonetheless. You have been nothing but kind to me. And I appreciate that more than you could know. But I will allow you to now go back to your business. I'm terribly sorry for taking up your time.
and I will bow and go and...
Before you fully leave, she says, "You will make this guild first before Azit. It is more important."
Of course, as you wish. And might I add, I will do what I can to make sure that the structure provides as much informational benefit for the Daimao forces as possible.
I would expect
As-
nothing less.
Yes.
Every guild serves its purpose. A strand in a web that will dominate the world and block out the sun.
Thank you again for your time, Commander.
Could have been better. Could have been worse. Walking away. Fine.
She didn't kill you.
Thank God the nat one was on that and not on something more important.
Oh my.
Oh, well, Voss just gets to be hated by Commander Kato for a while. That's okay. That's not the worst thing in the world. Rakath
I'm
is
getting
banging
sushi.
in his head as he wanders towards finding Yuna, who is getting sushi.
Well, let's hope it stays not the worst thing and we don't get someone who ends up being a religious fanatic as an enemy.
You
Because
know,
that always goes well.
the thing is, right now there's a good opportunity for her to kill us later. For now, we're useful, and that's fine. Yeah.
I'm gonna have Rakath come over and sit on the stool next to me. And get sushi.
What is this?
I'm just gonna feed you a piece.
Oh,
It's of note that this is like a sushi bar in a garden next to a pond with the fish in it, right? Like you could like it was like, "Oh, can I have some?" Okay, Shink. You know.
I want to see if I've made that connection. Would that be an
Rakath,
insight roll?
smartest man in the room. Yeah, that would be a perception roll, I suppose.
That's worse.
Yeah.
Never mind. I definitely made that
Sushi
connection.
is made of fish.
I eat it and then I just look at the pond and just look absolutely.
You look at
devastated.
a fish and a fish looks at you. And you've got like
This is what-
fish in your hand.
I put the fish down.
This is how you make a vegetarian.
Yuna, what is this?
Oh, it's sushi. They have the fish, and they occasionally put a bed of rice.
The fish is looking right at me, Yuna.
He pulled the chewy from the...
Oh, did you want that one?
No.
Did you want that one?
I can get you that one if you would like it.
No.
That's it. That's a juicy one.
That one is creeping me out. I think that one might be sentient.
The magic in this palace is quite grand. It has happened before.
Don't tell me that.
Why not? You
could we-
ask.
Actually, take that one to go, alive.
Oh God.
Oh, there would be a cost. And then you would need
Yeah.
the cost of the containment. 500 gold pieces.
Yeah, I'll pay that.
Yeah. And this is like a big koi, you know?
Mhm.
So like you get like
I
a big fish tank and the fish who keeps staring at Rakaf the whole time until it's just like impossible because of the layout of the tank.
I'll just like hide away behind Yuna.
I like this one.
Yeah, it's like a big sparkly koi with like kind of colors that are a bit too intense. You know how it is? Magic infused place. They just stare.
I don't like it.
Which is why you must have it.
All right. Well,
Right.
Let's go.
Go home with your fish. No big brother to say you can't buy a fish, Yuna.
Right.
You come home. You don't have anywhere to put a fish. But you got a fish.
I think
Where
we're
are you
down
pu-
in the dungeon space.
Are you putting the fish down in the dungeons? Fair. Okay.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Don't put the fish in the void water.
I'm gonna train it to stare at anybody who's in the chair. And
This is some Mr. Robot shit. Okay. Sweet.
It's gonna be Rakos me familiar.
With that,
Oh,
as we stare into the eyes of the fish, I'm gonna take a little break. Be back in a sec. Ugh.